Considered one of the oldest traditions still here today, No theater, a theater form that has started from Japan, has been around for 600 plus years. It is a dance-based drama based on tales from traditional literature, meant to describe ordinary people of the 12th to 16th centuries in Japan. The word no directly translates to skill or talent, which alludes to the fact that performers require a great amount of skill in order to perform this art form, according to the Japanese Arts Council. No theater was created when many art forms blended in Japanese society. Its original purpose was to carry out traditional stories and make sure they passed down through generations. Eventually, it became a court performance performed in royal courts. The impact of No as a theater form reasserted traditional Buddhist and Shinto beliefs back in Japanese culture due to the very Zen nature of the art form. Now, the convention I will be focusing on today is movement. The entire play in No theater is choreographed in a dance-like movement because there is no difference between dance and theater in Japan. They're intertwined. In the book Japanese Theater Anthology of Plays, edited by Karen Brazel, she says that dance is used to bring the material elements and the text to life, creating a living tapestry of performance. Movement in No tends to dictate plot according to a video of acting techniques of the No theater form. For example, a performer might show that they are crying through movement by going like this with their hands, as shown in this picture from a Dictionary of Theater Anthropology by Eugenio Barba and Nicola Savarese. A performer might also show that they are in extreme distress by moving both of their hands forward and bowing their head slightly. The symbolic hand actions convey a sense of meaning towards a performance. In No theater, basic movement patterns called the kata are used to choreograph the play. For example, the kamaii is a form of kata, which is basically the form of No. The knees must be bent, the legs crossed, the hips stay still and don't move, and the upper body stays still as well. This can be shown through this picture from the Japanese Arts Council and also this picture of the No performers bent and their upper body still and arms bent slightly. An actor must imagine that above him is a ring of iron pulling him upwards, but they must resist this pull in order to be grounded. And the person who said that is a No practitioner at the Kita school in Japan. This is done in order to keep the energy focused within, which is an action called the tamaru, an action of retaining or holding back energy and keeping the energy focused within the performer. This can lead to a focus on human emotion rather than plot in No theater. The performer must focus on the emotion that the story tells rather than the meaning of the performance and the plot. In No theater, performers must convey raw and very natural senses of emotion because of the Shinto beliefs at the time. Shinto is a type of religion in Japan that is focused on nature, and for this reason, No practitioners are meant to look simple and natural. This is in contrast to kabuki, another form of Japanese theater in which the performers are very extravagant, which directly juxtaposes to No theater. A professor of Japanese studies in the University of Michigan states that No is a look inward on what it is to be human. This is all shown through tension. There is a rule in No from the anthology of No plays edited by Karen Brazel that states that 7/10 of any action should happen in time, whereas only 3/10 in space. Now, this can be conveyed through the performer. For example, if a performer is meant to fall forward, they don't actually fall. They convey the emotion of falling rather than the act. They might fall and do this with their arms without actually falling to convey how the sadness of falling on the ground. The performer suspends the visual action but keeps the energy traveling in order to focus on the true meaning of a No play, which is the emotion. This directly relates to Anne Bogart's study of viewpoint and the relationship between time and space. In No Theater, practitioners focus on Ma, and Ma means the body in relation to space, something that Anne Bogart studied. Richard Schechner also studied duration, which is a viewpoint of Anne Bogart, showing the faster movement versus slower changes. This is also another way that No performers convey the sense of emptiness in the space and use their bodies to dictate a sense of emotion. Now, in No Theater, there are no background scenes and no lighting changes, which means the movement must dictate a change in atmosphere. A performer might do this by moving their hands lower to convey that they are near a river, or higher to convey that they are near a mountain. Although the specific changes of scene might not be evident to the audience, the emotion that is created is evident. Again, it is reasserted that the emphasis of the performer is not to show that they are changing the scenery, they are changing rather the emotion of the place that they are in. No uses basic modes of dance to create a sense of meaning. They use different types of actions to convey the rotai, which is an aged person, the nyotai, a feminine type of character, and the guntai as martial. These are not typed to gender or a specific character. They are not stock characters, as in many different types of performances. However, they are meant to show how different characters relay their sense of emotion through movement. For example, the nyotai suggests a sensitivity to beauty and emotion, however the guntai suggests an aggressive or supernatural quality, and all of these characteristics are shown through movement. For example, the nyotai might move their hands very delicately and move their wrists. However, the guntai moves very geometrically, very starkly, and very strongly in relation to the space. It seems as if they are slicing the space that they are in. Now, the moment of theater I will be showing today is an adaptation of the play Hagoromo, which directly translates to the feather mantle. The play shows an angel who needs to retrieve a feather in order to go back to heaven. However, the feather is being kept by a fisherman. So I will be adapting this. I adapted this play in order to only convey movement, and for this reason, I'm not using voice. I'm not using masks or costumes. There are essential parts of No Theater. However, I am only focusing on movement in order to show how movement is shown through the angel. Now, I used movement to show that the angel is very sad about the fact that she can't get the feather. The performer in No won't show that they are actually trying to retrieve the feather or asking the fisherman for permission to take the feather back. However, the performer shows that they would like to convey an emotion of sadness and the feeling that the angel must feel knowing that she can't go back to her home. I kept my legs crossed and my upper body straight, and to show the basic kamai, the posture that must be kept in No, to focus the energy from within. I also showed a sense of the angel used nyotai, the feminine and soft movement, in order to convey the sadness. She moved slowly in correlation to the space, and then she moved faster in order to show her anger, but then retreated back to sadness. I also showed the movement of the hand to the eye to show that she was crying, very similar to this picture of a Dictionary of Theater and Anthropology by Eugenio Barbara and Nicola Savarese. I had many challenges in performing the moment of theater. The most challenging part was the posture. The posture requires years and years of training to be able to use that posture correctly. I've only been practicing for a very short amount of time, meaning that I didn't convey the correct type of posture as someone who had trained for years and years might have. I also had trouble being able to express emotion instead of plot. My first instinct was to show the act of retrieving the feather. However, I realized over time that I had to convey the emotion of sadness that the angel might have felt. I realized that there are many different theater traditions that No is either similar or different to. No theater is different to comedia because in comedia, the act, even though the performers do have masks, they must exaggerate their movements in order to take the place of the facial expressions that they're missing. However, No, even though they also use masks, still conveys the sense of energy from within and the natural sense of the Shinto beliefs. I found that No is very similar to naturalism because No reflects the emotions of the general public, which is what naturalism does as well. Furthermore, I realized that No was very similar to Lecoq's physical theater because he shows duration and the act of very simple actions, which is what No does as well. Practitioners in No require different skills. They require a deep understanding of the relationship between time and space in order to convey a certain emotion. They also require a very strong physical capability in order to keep a very strong and focused energy within them to keep that posture for very long periods of time. I acquired many skills throughout my time researching the No theater form. I learned that I had to focus more on emotion rather than the meaning of the plot. I realized that there is also a very strong connection between dance and theater in contrast to the Western world. I used to study dance, and that helped me when practicing the movement of No theater. However, in my studies of theater, I am more, I'm used to studying the Western world more, and for this reason, I found it rather difficult to focus on creating different tension, emotion, atmosphere, and meaning through No theater. I chose No, and specifically movement, because I learned at a workshop last year about Anne Bogart and her different viewpoints, and I was very interested in this. And the reason I chose No rather than a Western form to convey Anne Bogart's ideas was because I wanted to expand my theater worldview and learn more. I realized that I can use this information that I learned throughout my research, throughout the collaborative project in the IB, to convey different emotions rather than focusing on a plot, since it is only a very short amount of time to perform. I can also use No, the movement from No, as a creator because I can learn that ideas can be created through different emotions rather than focusing on a plot throughout a play. I've struggled through performing in IB theater, and I've noticed that if I focus more on emotion rather than plot, it will help me greatly in performing in IB theater. Thank you.